Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. This is Beatrice Szalas, Vice President at TWG Plus, and I'm joined today by my former client and friend, Cathy Herman. Cathy is a Special Assistant to the Vice President of Research and former Vice President of Strategic Marketing and Communications at the University at Albany. Cathy was a client of mine about 5 years ago when the university embarked on a comprehensive branding initiative, and we're excited to share with you some of the results that the branding campaign has achieved to date, as well as the lessons we've learned along the way as we work to develop, communicate, and strengthen the UAlbany brand. Today's webinar is meant to be interactive and informal, so please, at any time, if you have any questions, use your chat box to type them in, and we'll do our best to answer them. Our goal for today's webinar is pretty simple. We want all of you to walk away with at least one strategy or idea that you can implement on your campus. We realize that we have a variety of different schools. I think we have almost 20 schools joining us today, some small private institutions ranging also right up to large publics. And we all know that you are at different stages of your brand development process and evaluation. So we want to show a variety of different ideas and strategies that we developed for the University at Albany in the hopes that you will take away some ideas that you can implement on your campus within the upcoming year. With that being said, I want to pass it over to Cathy to tell us a little bit about the university, and then we'll just jump right in and outline some of the steps that we took to develop the brand, implement it, and then now evaluate it. Cathy?
Thanks, Beatrice. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the University at Albany. It's part of the State University of New York system, and as you can see from the photograph in this slide, it has very distinctive modern architecture, unlike a lot of campuses. And I'm bringing that to your attention because this sort of came to be a challenge for us as we were branding the university. But I'll touch now on the university's profile. The university's profile, it's one of 4 research universities within the State University of New York. It's located in New York State Capitol. That it came to be an attribute for the University at Albany. It has approximately 17,700 students, of which 13,000 are undergraduates and 4,500 are graduate. It has a very diverse student population with about 41.9% students of color. Its research portfolio is approximately $346 million. And its strengths are tend to be in its social sciences, business, atmospheric and environmental science, and the nanosciences. The environment in which we were working when we decided to engage in a branding initiative were of 2 sorts. We had our institutional challenges, which were we were dealing with an outdated mission, vision, and strategic plan. The university had not undergone a strategic planning process for quite a few years. At that point, it was 10 years old, the former strategic plan. We just had a change in leadership, and little did we know that while the university had committed a budget to engage in a branding initiative, brand study, we were just about to undergo several years of budget cuts. Which played into our implementation process. Our branding challenges were that we lacked clear messaging and no unified identity. The university had once been a state teachers college, and over the years it was a normal school, state teachers college, and now a major research university. So many people, many constituents perceived the university in many different ways. The university had never undergone any major market research. At one time, while there were some market studies, there wasn't a comprehensive market research undertaking, so we had no benchmarks. And we were dealing, as all schools and colleges were, in a very competitive marketplace. So marketing, your college or university had become very competitive. We had 2 goals. One was to clarify a sustainable, compelling, and memorable messaging strategy and a unified, fully integrated brand for UAlbany that resonated with internal and external audiences. And we wanted to find functional consensus, which was very important, on a brand that helps UAlbany solidify its identity and continually advances its relevance in the marketplace. And at that juncture, we teamed with Beatrice Szalas to help lead us and guide us through the branding process.
Thanks, Cathy. I just want to outline very, very briefly. We don't want to spend the majority of our time talking about the branding process today, as our focus is really about the implementation and evaluation of it. But I do want to outline, I think it's beneficial to know kind of a few of the key steps that we need to follow in engaging in a comprehensive process that will help to achieve the objectives that you just outlined, Cathy. First of all, we knew we wanted to start with a solid foundation of market research, and that market research really had to be conducted with both internal and external audiences. It needed to be qualitative and quantitative, and I'm going to talk about that in just a few moments. Secondly, we wanted to develop a brand promise statement, something that could really form the foundation for all of our marketing and communication efforts moving forward. Something that gave us focus. I think many schools right now are struggling with who are we and what are we promising to our students and all of our key constituents. And developing a brand promise statement really helps you find that focus and clarity in all of your efforts. We wanted to also develop a compelling and memorable brand campaign. And that really involved doing quite a bit of research and concepting to make sure that the brand campaign and the tagline that we developed resonated with our key target audiences. Again, both internal and external. One of the things that we need to mention up front was that, and Cathy mentioned it in the slide before, was that internal buy-in was absolutely critical to our success. And I know from working with a variety of other colleges and universities around the country that oftentimes that's one area where people can have some difficulties. They jump right to the promotional campaign and how to promote it externally and skip the step about how to engage the internal audiences. Those internal audiences can be your greatest brand advocates, and they can be really the ones that carry the message forward in a powerful way. So we definitely want to involve them, engage them at every step of the way. We also wanted to make sure that we developed a brand plan that was scalable. As Cathy just pointed out, there was some budgetary issues that were going to be facing us over the next little while. So we wanted to develop a plan that had a great source of ideas, but at the same time something that we could scale as the years unfolded. And of course, the final step was really to monitor, evaluate, and continue to strengthen the brand. I once had a client say to me, let's take a look at the timeline. So that means by September we're going to be finished with the branding. And I said, no, that means that by September we start the work. The branding process is something that never has a real beginning and an end. In fact, when you go through a branding process like this, it really is the beginning of doing your best work and really making sure that you realize the benefits of your investment. Okay, my slides aren't advancing. It's working now. My apologies, everyone. I want to say a couple things about the market research phase of this project because it's critical to understanding how we are performing. We did quite a bit of research, and not every school has the opportunity to conduct this level of research, but if you do, if you have some budget, it really is a great opportunity to make sure that you fully understand how your brand is currently perceived and where you're situated right now. We did quite a bit of qualitative research, which involved dozens of on-campus focus groups and discussions with key constituents. We did some quantitative research as well. You can see here with our internal audiences, we surveyed over 1,700 people. That included current students, faculty, and staff. And we also engaged our external audiences. Over 1,600 people were surveyed, including prospective students, all the way through to alumni. This body of research was really important because it enabled us to explore image and awareness and perception issues around the school and really set some solid baseline metrics. Where are we right now? How are we perceived? Where are our strengths? Where are we falling short of expectations? Who's our key competition? So we really dug deep in really understanding both how our internal and external audiences view and perceive us, which really gave us the kind of information we needed to move forward with the development of UAlbany's brand position. That brand position was really what we call a brand promise statement. And many of you hear this as a brand positioning statement or a brand promise statement. In essence, it really is a one-of-a-kind statement about who you are and what you're promising. It's an opportunity to really bring focus and clarity to your marketing program. We did this with the University at Albany by developing a series of potential brand promise statements once we had all of the research at hand. So there was a couple of workshops that were conducted with representation from across the university, and we developed that positioning statement together. The key to this was that we tested the positioning statement. And many of you I know work on a lot of committees, and you know that a committee can come up with some great statements, but at the end of the day, that statement and that brand promise really need to resonate with our most important audiences. So what we did is we went out and we did a web-based survey of our key constituents, and we had them weigh in on the promise statements, and we were able to test various words and phrases and themes to make sure that our final promise statement was something that was going to have traction that we needed. When you have this kind of research done as well, it really allows you to move forward with confidence. We're not guessing as to what people really want to hear from us. We're really putting we're putting research behind every word and every piece of this moving forward. At the end of the day, we ended up with what we call a brand portfolio. And the key elements of that brand portfolio include a brand promise, brand attributes, and in this case, we also did a tagline for the university. The brand promise statement you can see here is very, very short. It's one sentence long, and it contains some really strong components. And again, we tested these with our target audiences, and we're really able to identify some things that were distinctive about the school, but also very, very relevant to our target audiences. And the brand promise statement was supported by 5 key brand attributes. And each one of these brand attributes, when you develop them, really includes multiple sources of information. So for instance, each one of these has a series of key messages, proof points, stories, testimonials, everything that you need to make this very distinctive to UAlbany. Once we had the brand promise and attributes completed, we went ahead with the creative concepting phase and ultimately landed on the tagline and the concept, the world within reach. Again, this was a very thorough process where we developed a couple of concepts and we focus tested them for a few days actually with multiple audiences on campus to make sure that it was the right theme. And we found that this was overwhelmingly supported by both internal and external audiences, both in the tagline itself but also the visual representation that accompanied it. At that point, we were ready to, and I should kind of just preface this by saying that was a very, very quick overview of what a branding process looks like. There was, the point I really want to make to you is that it was a very thorough, very engaging process that involved key constituents, both internal and external. Once we had all of that completed, we were able to move forward with actually launching the brand. But before we could launch it, we had to do a little bit of buy-in work on the campus itself. And Cathy, I'm going to pass it back over to you to tell us a little bit about the pre-launch preparation that you did and then subsequently how we rolled out the brand.
We were very thanks, Beatrice. We were very thorough with what we called the pre-launch, which was going around and informing our constituents about what we'd settled on, what was the results of all the research and conceptualizing what our brand attributes are. Had our different schools and colleges, alumni, division heads, faculty weigh in on it so that when we went public, it wasn't a surprise to anyone and we had the adequate buy-in. Then we were ready to go public, and we did an internal brand launch. We gathered the campus together, and we did a celebratory event with different alums, faculty, students, all sort of giving testimony as to how the university put the world within reach for them. So these were personal accounts that brought the brand to life. As you can see, we had balloons, we did a news release, we did a video and posted it on YouTube. And ta-da, after about 9 months of research and conceptualizing, our brand was alive and ready there and born.
Great. And I'll add, Cathy, too, that it was wonderful because I don't know if you can see in this photo here, this is the provost and this is the president. And that day, there was a student that introduced the president, and this president outlined the brand promise statement and basically told everyone, this is who we are, this is our reputation, and we really need all of you to help us tell the story of the university. And then the provost outlined each of the brand attributes, and then we had a faculty, a student, an alum, all share stories that related to one of the brand attributes.
So then we were ready to embark on our external rollout, and we knew 2 things. One, that we wanted to time it to the fall admission cycle and entering freshmen, and that it was essential because the website is every college and university's key marketing tool, that it get immediately the top layers of the website get woven into the website. So we redid all of our admissions view books. You can go to the next slide, Beatrice.
Mm-hmm.
We did internally, when students came on board, they were given the student handbook. We were very happy that our Division of Student Success created a handbook that said "Success Within Reach" and was playing off the world within reach. We redid graduate guides, and then in the next slide shows how we did an on-campus advertising, so that we had large kiosks installed throughout this very large sort of monumental architecture, and the advertising campaign played off of the brand attributes. So in the front kiosk you see that it says "Get a Global Perspective," which one of our brand attributes is a broad world view. We boasted our alumni network, that we're part of a network of 140,000 alumni worldwide. I like to look at that kiosk because that was about 5 years ago, and our alumni base has grown to about 160,000 alumni worldwide.
Yeah, I think the really important thing with the rollout is, if we were to reread the brand promise and attributes, what's really great is that there's nothing that you did following the launch of this brand that didn't build somehow directly on the brand promise and attributes. And it really gave the university and Cathy and her team the focus to know what to put in the ads and what to put into the various pieces, because now suddenly we have a brand that has been researched, that's been tested, and that resonates.
Right, and we could move forward with confidence, knowing that all of those attributes had been tested. And then, of course, we went to a website redesign. We created banners that reinforced the brand attributes. As you can see here, our graduates know a network of 143,000 alumni is ready to help them get their big break. So that reinforced the lasting connections and so on and so forth. One thing I just want to mention about the university is that while we had a Division I program, athletic program, we did not have a large football stadium that could attract the numbers that one would expect to attract to their football games. We could only sat about 4,500 people. So one of the research findings was that while the immediate community in Albany, New York, so that they really didn't know what takes place at the university, and then the other constituents, farther reaching, said, well, they knew that they thought the university was a good school, they didn't really know what it was all about. So we decided to create a community day that we called UAlbany Day, and had a concept of a passport, and people could come and see demonstrations by faculty, and we combined it with 3 events that usually take place at the university in one day to so that we could have build on the numbers that attended. We combined it with the open house, parents weekend, and alumni weekend. So we were able to measure the success of this day by monitoring the prospective students and parents who came to the campus. The day attracted 4,700 visitors. 50% were prospective students, and of this, 68% applied to the university, 48% were accepted, and 60% of accepted students enrolled. And so from a prospective student point of view, we had some baseline research to know what a day like that, the results of such a day. And then after that day, we were able to survey people and determine, you know, what appealed to them, didn't appeal to them. And what we realized is that, well, we did have quite a few community members attend. We could get more, and that people didn't really like to come to a community day in the fall. They'd rather come to a festival. So we positioned the day, and we called it Fallbany, UAlbany's Fall Festival. The numbers went up, and we were able to attract more community members, and as a result, we attracted 6,000 fans. And then over time, things have changed, and we finally had a new football stadium built. And this is the first year. It opened this year, And nothing like having a bona fide football stadium to attract fans and the community. And so we've done away with the Albany event altogether. And this year, the new stadium attracted over 11,000 fans. So it's interesting how this day morphed in and grew into the growth of the university itself.
Cathy, I really liked the idea of having Albany. I know that many of my other clients also struggle with this kind of, I guess, outdated perception right in their own backyard. And I think it's a great kind of reminder that having an event such as this, especially if you don't have a new stadium, is a great way to reintroduce your own community to the university and all the great things that are happening there.
Right, right. It really is a great way to bring people onto campus, and this is something that they're taking a look at. But I was pleased to be able to show this sort of transformation of that attempt and its results. Some key indicators of brand performance. After we launched the brand, what were some of the things that we were looking at to measure our results and see if we were successful in what we were attempting to do, which is communicate the brand to our audiences and to know if it's resonating with them. We were looking at whether or not our website was effectively communicating the brand. We were looking at our institution's strategic plan and how it was embracing the brand. We were looking how it was playing out in the media and what the reputational rankings were saying about us. And we were also looking to advance it through social media and mobile technology, which, as we all know, over the past 5 years has just exploded. So when it came to our website, one of the things that we discovered in looking at the web analytics is that the search box on our website is our friend, and that we should pay very careful attention to where people are going on our website, because if you do that, you can measure how well your brand is being integrated into your most visited sites and where the most population is coming to your site. So in this, early on, we did a study and we determined that the most visitors go to our home page. So with that, we made sure that our home page integrated and spoke to the brand. So if we could just go to the next slide, Beatrice. So, like most websites, it's a place where we post news and communicate activities that are going on campus. So our marketing team was expert in just outright communicating and telling people how our brand attributes apply to the stories that we're telling. So one of our brand attributes is excellence at a great value. Well, we tell them that this is a great value because you can land the best possible jobs in the world. We're a hub for new ideas, which plays into our life-enhancing research, and we tell stories that reinforce that, and so on and so forth. So don't be shy about telling people how the success relates to your brand. You just can't. Well, a lot of times you think that you're overstating it and overdoing it, but you really just can't do it enough. So anytime you can relate what your brand is to the activities, it's a very good way of reinforcing your brand. On the next slide, we don't overlook internal audiences. Our web stats told us that every year 3.2 million visitors were going to this page, My UAlbany, which is inwardly facing, to log into our portal. And that's a lot of visitors. And as you can see on this page, we really weren't taking advantage at all of communicating what is going on at the university and how the brand's being played out and living and breathing at the university. So we redesigned this web page and turned it more into a calendar page where people can see what's taking place at the university, special announcements, today's events, and reinforce social media, which has grown in many, many ways. So we listen to our web stats and redesign accordingly to make sure that we can get very important information, essential information to those populations.
Cathy, I think this is really great because, again, many clients are concerned about, they have newsletters and they have all kinds of different ways that they try to communicate with their internal audiences about all the things that are going on, including sharing stories of success and so on. And yet this is a great way because everybody at some point, usually during the day or at least several times a week, will log into this area and will have a chance to see what the latest news and a chance to really find out what's going on around the university.
Right. It's just you have to take advantage of every opportunity. Next, my final example on this subject matter is just if you could look down a line where it says 77. What we determined is our 7th most visited page was this obscure page called How to Write an Outline that was posted by a faculty member ages ago for their class as a resource. And what we realized is that, as you can see, this is what the page looked like. It gets over 200,000 visitors a year, and we realized that, well, what kind of people would want to learn how to write an outline? Potentially a lot of high school students, other faculty members, other college students, and so we took advantage to redesign that page and have an admissions focus on it. You can see the left-hand navigation. People can easily get to navigate to our undergrad admissions, graduate admissions, and just a total redesign. Still had the important information up there as a resource for outline writing, but we put news in there and lots of other good stuff so that we could reinforce and take advantage of that kind of traffic to our website. I want to touch a little bit on search engine optimization. I think most people understand what search engine optimization is optimizing the language on your page so that you come up higher in the search engines when you Google or search for a subject when you query subject matter. What we had discovered is that one of the top words that people searched when coming to our site was the word SUNY, State University of New York. They weren't really, distinguishing between which campus. They were just Googling SUNY. So we optimized our web page very early on before the other 64 campuses so that when you Google SUNY, our campus comes up very high up on the search engines. And so this is a way for us to be top of mind when people are searching for SUNY schools. So this is clear evidence that search engine optimization works. Next, I'd like to touch on mobile devices. Very early on in our branding, we were reviewing where visits, what platforms people were coming to from us, and we learned very early on that the number of people coming from mobile platforms was just exploding. There was a 140% increase in visits to our site by mobile devices. So we took this very seriously, and if you want to go to the next slide, Beatrice, we also started studying what type of devices were coming to us. At this point in this study, which was 2010-2011, the iPhone was outperforming some of the other devices. More recently, we see a huge leap in tablets. So why is this important? Why do you want to know what type of devices are coming to you? According to the 2013 Pew Internet and American Life study, they're saying that 91% of the adult population now owns some kind of cell phone, which means that 56% of all American adults are now smartphone adopters. So many more people are searching our website with smartphones. And so we just have to be sure that when people use that device, whether it's a smartphone or a tablet, how do we appear on that? Every platform is different, and you want to make sure you're putting your best face forward on these mobile devices. And that is, it's an ongoing challenge, I think, not only for us but for most universities, is staying abreast of this and ensuring that your mobile platform, that your mobile website is current. But we did go ahead and redesign that, and in the process we also discovered that video is also a very important medium, and that the Pew Internet study last year said that photos and videos have become key online social currencies. Over 50% of all U.S. adults have used the Internet to watch or download video, and Internet users between ages 18 and 29 continue to be the heaviest consumers of online video. So we decided, and we have come to realize, that a branded video platform allows for dedicated and branded content in a controlled environment. So what happens is that a lot of organizations, schools and colleges, will make use of videos, but they post them to YouTube, which is good, and you do get viewership there, but you cannot control the environment. They might watch your video, but then over on the right-hand side they might see another video that takes them off to something else. But if you have your own platform, you can control that. So as you can see in this picture, this is a screenshot of our UAlbany TV platform. You can watch a video about the university, and it takes you on to other videos about the university, but it also allows for you to place ads in there and control your branding messages. And so this has proven to be very successful, and we can monitor this. And we also measure views, and we know what people are watching. What do people tend to gravitate to? How long do they watch it? It's very important to measure how long people are watching your videos. On average, people watch University of Albany videos for about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So it tells us that we never really want to create a video that's much longer than that, because you'll lose them. It also tells us that when you produce a video, that you want to put your key messaging right up front. Put it in within the first 30 seconds, because more people are going to drop off, and if you don't drive home your key branding messages early on, then you run the risk of wasting all that time and effort that you went to produce that video. And again, social media is so important. When we first started with social media platforms, like everyone, huge focus on Facebook and Twitter, we came to realize that LinkedIn goes a long way to getting word out, especially when it comes to careers and having students be able to interact with alums. And so there are so many platforms or social media platforms that we keep incorporating into our strategies. But it's really important, as you do this, to have a plan on integrating your brand. It's very easy to lose sight of that. So we went ahead and created a news center that was social media heavy, and like as you can see over on the left-hand side, even with Twitter, we reinforced the tagline there, and we do everything we can, and we've tried to make a concerted effort to integrate the brand into all of our social media platforms. Now, I just want to touch upon something I mentioned earlier on in this presentation, is that the challenges that our modernist campus handed us. Our campus was built in the 1960s. It was designed by Edward Durrell Stone, who was a modernist architect. After the Pentagon, it is known to be one of the second largest poured concrete structures in the United States. It can be a very beautiful campus, but because of aging concrete, it posed challenges and became gray, and it was eroding, and it became in some parts unsightly. And over a period of about 10 years, a lot of capital funds were made to make improvements, but in the meantime became known, especially in the reputational rankings, as an ugly campus. So we had to launch and make a concerted effort to overcome this. So we made brochures about the campus and its distinctiveness. We had tours, and we promoted it to the Chronicle and to their architectural reporter. and lo and behold, we were able to land a story. As you can see the headline, we couldn't have paid enough money for this headline. Don't be so quick to knock down modernist architecture. So we began our campaign to improve the image of the campus, and then lo and behold, not too long ago, the 60s and the fashion trends for the 60s, like in television shows like Mad Men, became very popular, and we became known in the media as a go-to place for fashion shoots. We had Neiman Marcus here to do a fashion shoot. Esquire was here, and we have a story in USA Today how we were a destination for that type of thing. So we came a long way in turning around a negative into a positive. The other way that we measured success was how key constituents were embracing the brand. One area where our marketing team just applauded was when our student association decided that they wanted to create a new lecture series, and in so doing they wanted to bring in world leaders to talk about current events, and the first guest was Colin Powell, and they named the lecture series the World Within Reach Speaker Series. The Speaker Series has subsequently brought in Bill Clinton. Just this past weekend they brought in the Obama campaign team, and because this student association has its own budget, they're able to infuse from year to year more than $200,000 in marketing to overall branding. So if you look at it that way, when at times of scant resources, if you can get everyone on the same page and if you can get different constituents embracing it, your sum is larger than the parts as far as the amount of budget that you have to spend on branding and marketing.
I think the speaker series has also done volumes in terms of really bringing a lot of profile to the university as well, and it works very well with the tagline.
Yes, it does, and we usually interview the speakers afterwards, and we've had a few of them comment and praise us on our World Within Reach tagline. Then a few years ago, the university engaged in a new strategic planning process, and we were delighted when the faculty and the provost's office embraced the brand and created a new 10-year strategic plan that wove the brand attributes throughout the plan. As you can see in the next slide, the literature that was put out about this just really played off on the World Within Reach, and this, I think, by having it brought into the strategic plan, it really just cements the life of the brand for probably 10 more years.
And Cathy, I'd just like to add, too, that many times when we work with the school, we use the strategic plan as a source of information and inspiration for the brand. In this case, it was nice to see that the branding work was solid enough for the institution to feel that it could base the strategic plan around that.
Yes, yes. We were holding our breath through the process, but it really worked. And then finally, just recently, you can measure things by what the reputational rankings are saying, what the larger media is saying, and recently the University at Albany came up 15 slots in the rankings, and the Washington Post wrote an article about it, U.S. News College Rankings, the big gainers and the big decliners over 3 years. We were a big gainer. We were up 15, and what better evidence than this that the brand's at work.
And I'll say, too, that a lot of the examples that we've been showing here are not examples of let's go back and repeat the research. That's probably one of the ways that many of you are familiar with evaluating and measuring your brand's performance. So that initial market research that we did set benchmarks. So we knew how we were perceived and how we were positioned at the time of that research. And our goal at that time was to develop a variety of strategies, some of the ones that you've seen here today, that we believe would move the needle on some of the key areas, that we really thought we needed to address. Our goal eventually is repeat some of that market research and see how we've moved the needle. But that is no reason to sit and wait until that time comes. There are really a lot of ways to measure and monitor and strengthen your brand until you have the resources or the opportunity to repeat that research. So I think, Cathy, you've given us some really great examples of some ways that you can continue to stay on top of things and continue to develop your brand while you're waiting to repeat that market research.
That's right. So I'd like to close with this final video. Just want to, we had an event, it was a lobbying day down at the state capitol, and we created this video for that. But I think this is an example of how different constituents embrace the brand and how we were able to leverage it in many different ways.
I'll play that, and I'll say too that this was all based on existing footage that you already had. So this was not a high production video that was done specifically for that event, but really taking a lot of the different videos and a lot of the different segments that you already had and repurposing them into this video. I think many colleges are probably in a position where they could do something similar, because it ends with a great comment from Colin Powell, actually, who says, "The University at Albany, the world within reach." I love that slogan. So it's not bad to get an endorsement from him. At this point, we have about 15 minutes left, and I would just love to open up the chat line to see if anybody has any questions or comments. We wanted to leave a little bit of room at the end here just to kind of answer any questions that you might have regarding the development of the brand, which I know that we covered very, very quickly, to the implementation and some of the evaluation techniques that Cathy talked about. Even if any of you are currently considering a branding project, some of the challenges that you're thinking about, or some of the key questions that you might have regarding the best way to develop the brand or the best way of rolling it out or introducing it to key constituents.
Well, Beatrice, I just want to thank you for inviting me to be part of this, and it was fun to take a look at, examine some of the results that we've had, and thank everyone for participating.
Yes, thank you very much, Cathy. It's been a pleasure working with you. And for those of you on the line, don't hesitate to reach out to either one of us if you have any questions at some point or want to discuss things further. Thank you very much for participating in our webinar today, and enjoy the rest of your day.